Everyone, it's Brianna for Triumphant Tuesdays. Merry Christmas! Sorry if you don't celebrate Christmas, but I love Christmas, so Merry Christmas. We're still on our rotation on gratitude, and today I'm going to be talking about being grateful for going through tough times. And I know that seems kind of weird, like, why would I be grateful if something really bad is happening? But I'll just explain the perspective that I like to look at it from, and maybe that will help explain it to you guys better. And as always, you can leave comments below and I'll try to answer. But you kind of always have to look at life with the glass half full and look for good things. For example, in my life, I wouldn't say I'm grateful that I had an eating disorder. That's kind of crazy to say, just because it almost ruined my entire life and it was so painful and awful, as you guys know. But I am grateful for the person it made me. I'm a very strong person now. I'm grateful for the compassion it gave me, because I'm very, not only towards eating disorders, but to everyone. I try to understand their story, even if I haven't gone through something. And that's another really good point. A lot of people, if they haven't gone through something, they assume it doesn't exist or don't take it as seriously. But I can look at something, whether I've gone through it or not, whether I have personal experience or not, and have compassion for that individual and see that as a real problem, whether I have had experience with that or not. And I think that makes me a better person in general, a better friend, and almost more valuable to society in a way. And I don't mean to say that in a way that makes me sound conceited, which I guess right now it kind of does, but I just view people as people, and their problems, I don't judge them for that. And just because I haven't experienced something doesn't mean it isn't real or it's any less valid. I'm also not grateful for the trauma that I had, but I am grateful for the fact that it finally brought me to recovery with my eating disorder. And I'm a very stubborn person, so it took almost dying because of my trauma. I ended up relapsing really bad, to where I'd never been that sick before, and that was the sickest I ever got. But basically, I ended up relapsing to a point that it was live or die, black or white, and I'm a stubborn person, so it was really hard for me to get that through my head. Every time I'd relapsed before, I would just figure, okay, people would help you get weight restored or whatever, and then I would be like, okay, well, maybe you didn't do your eating disorder right. Maybe if you do it this way, you'll be able to have life with an eating disorder. And that experience with the trauma and the severe relapse I had taught me that there is no life with an eating disorder, and it ultimately led me to recovery. So I could think about all of the negative things associated with my trauma, which I still struggle with. It's hard to be positive when something really horrible has happened to you, but I'm grateful that, I'm recovered now. It took that storm for it to be over for me. It took that storm for me to realize that there is no life with an eating disorder. And even after, that happened and I got better and I still struggled, I never gave up on recovery, because I realized that in order to live, that I was going to not be able to have an eating disorder. And because I realized there's no life with it, I was able to move on and realize that you can't do an eating disorder correctly, and that you ultimately need to give it up. So I'm grateful for that. And I know a lot of people have trouble looking at things for their positives, but one way that might help you is, the way I think about it and the way that some of my friends think about it, is that if you look at life, every single day is a blank page, and that day you write on it, metaphorically, but whatever you do, that page gets written on. And when you go to bed at night and wake up the next day, there's nothing that you can do about the page that's already been written on. So if you can go back to the pages that have already been written on and find the positive things, you'll just be a better person. Since you can't change what happened, it's better that you look at what's positive from it, what you can learn from it, and how you became a stronger person. We don't become strong people by going through life and having it easy. If you think about it, the people that had the hardest time are probably doing really well now, and they're probably very strong people. Like, I don't know any people that are strong that have not gone through hard times. And another one of my favorite quotes, oh goodness, it's quote time again, but it's, life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass, it's about learning to dance in the rain. And I really like that because there will always be storms. And it would be nice, if you could not have a storm, but there will always be storms. So don't wait for something to pass you by. Just keep moving. Like, keep going through the storm. Reach out for support. Do whatever you have to do. But the storms aren't going to always pass. Like, there's always going to be something. There's always going to be some problem in your life, most likely. So if you can look at the positive and keep going through it and keep living, that's really the best way to be. A lot of people have asked me, like, throughout my life, if I would give up my cerebral palsy if I could. Like, if someone asked me if I could, like, give it up and not have it, like, would I do that? And I honestly can't really answer that, and it would depend. If I had to change personalities, then no, definitely not. Because I think my cerebral palsy made me who I am. So I'm grateful for that because I really like who I am. But yeah, like, would it be awesome to run around or play a sport or not worry about falling or wear flip-flops? I've always wanted to wear flip-flops. I can't. Or drive. I've always wanted to drive too. Can't do that. Yes, that would be awesome. I'd love to do that. But I think that if somebody asked me if I wanted to get rid of my cerebral palsy and offered me the choice, like, I honestly don't think that I would say yes, because that would mean that I would have a different personality because, obviously a struggle makes you who you are. So I couldn't have the exact same personality and not have cerebral palsy. So I would probably say no. And my name comes from that. I've never shared this on YouTube, but my name, Brianna Elizabeth. Brianna means woman of strength, and Elizabeth means by the grace of God. And my dad picked that. What ended up happening is that I was born with listeria, and we don't know whether me or my mom had it, but really it doesn't matter. But my mom was 23 and my dad was 25, so super young parents. They're still married. I thank God for that every day. But really, really young parents. And my dad was told by doctors that he was going to lose his wife and his daughter, within the next few hours. And my dad tried to stay with my mom, but he kicked her out of the room and said, I serve a God that moves mountains. You need to go be with her. My dad's like, well, I don't know her. Like, if you're going to die, like, I want to stay with you. So he got kicked out, and I kept living. And so my name's Brown Elizabeth, or Woman with Strength by the Grace of God. And I would have a different name if I didn't have cerebral palsy. So I am grateful for that. But see, I could look at it as a completely negative thing that was wrong with my life. But there are positives to it. And since I can't get rid of it, I kind of have to go with it. You can't change certain things. You have to deal with them. So if you can look at your life like that, that would be helpful to you. Just be grateful for what you have and just look for as many positive things as you can out of a situation, because a lot of times situations you can't change. So just try to be positive and be grateful. I love you guys. Merry Christmas. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.